All right, girls' night is over. It's the next morning. Erin, how are you feeling?
So good.
So good about life?
So happy.
You've got a lot of creamer.
What? Don't judge.
She's really thirsty. She's just really thirsty.
Really
I'm
thirsty.
still not okay about diabolic lovers.
Nobody is.
I think I'm more hungover on rage about diabolic lovers than I am about the 2 bottles of wine. I think that's what happened.
Yeah. We've all got our coffees. We're at Nor. There's no sign. I thought there would probably be a sign, but there's no sign. We're at Norm's, so that's fun. How did you feel about diabolic lovers?
It was horrible.
Yeah, it was real bad, right?
Genuinely the worst thing that's really ever happened to me in my entire life.
Yeah.
Like, I thought just reading the synopsis of Twilight was bad. That was bad.
Yeah. We basically watched Twilight, the harem anime, and it was really bad. So we turned it into a drinking game, and then, unfortunately, the more we drank, the more we got angry about it. It didn't make it more tolerable, it just made us angrier. So that was our night.
The best part is our drinking game. We started on episode 2 because we had watched episode 1. We're like, it's shit, we're not going to watch it again. So we started on episode 2. And still by the end of episode 4, we had drank an entire bottle of wine.
We did! And every episode is 15 minutes. They're not even full anime episode lengths. And we had drank an entire bottle of wine in like an episode and a half. It was bad. It was real bad. So now we have coffee.
We drank so much
So,
alcohol.
huzzah. Girls' night achieved. Woo!
Hey guys, it's coffee time. Let me tell you all about girls' night, because girls' night was an amazing thing. It actually timed out perfectly. You know how I was like, oh, I'm gonna be showing up, you know, maybe I didn't say this actually. So I recorded with Cry, right? And then immediately after recording with Cry, I was going to be going to girls' night. And originally it was like, okay, well, Erin and Angie will hang out and like do whatever, watch anime and, you know, eat dinner or whatnot, and I'll just show up whenever I'm done with my filming. So it turned out I got there right as they were coming back from the grocery store, because I guess it took a while for Angie to get there with the bus system, because the buses are buses and you have to add on like an extra hour and a half in order to know when you're going to be somewhere on time. And so she eventually got to Erin's place. And then they were like, oh, let's go get some snacks and some rosé and, you know, all of the other traditional things. So they went to the grocery store, and literally I pulled up, I went to the front door, I knocked, and then they pulled into the driveway, and I was like, yay, we're all here at the same time, ready for girls' night. So I had not eaten dinner yet, so I took some time and heated up my curry and ate that for dinner and all that, and we started catching up on, you know, every detail that we had about our animals and our lives and everything else. Angie made us hot chocolate, which, again, not a huge chocolate person, but it was pretty delicious because she put in like double the amount, and I was like, oh my god, because, sorry, all over the place, they bought a package because it's like the day after Halloween is over, suddenly there's Christmas stuff everywhere. So they bought a package of the tiny, tiny little candy canes with the intention of us having hot chocolate and then putting a little candy cane, like a little hanging candy cane on the side of the mug, because it would be adorable. Now the problem is the way that those tiny candy canes are made, there's no gap there. They're made like a weird, they look like a squished pea. So we were trying to like widen them out, but you know, they're candy canes, so they would just break. They're not gonna move, they're not pliable at all. And then I had the amazing idea that never came to fruition of, why don't we put whipped cream on top of the hot chocolate and then crush up the candy canes and then sprinkle the candy canes on top of the whipped cream. But we didn't have any whipped cream. So I just crushed up candy canes and just plopped it into my hot chocolate. So aesthetically, didn't look awesome. Taste-wise, delicious. But we sat down on the couch and we were like, all right, obviously, girls' night, so we have to watch something awful. We started off the evening watching a show called Buying Naked, which, if you know me, you know that I love shows about home buying. I love House Hunters. I love Property Brothers. I love all of those shows because I personally love to just daydream about one day owning a house or refurbishing a house or just like anything in that world. I'm like, oh my gosh, it would be so fun, right? So, I love watching those shows. And a while back, David and Aaron had told me about this show called Buying Naked. And it's literally real estate agents who are trying to help people in nudist colonies find homes. So we watched like a few clips from that show, and it's amazing because the way that so in every single scene, the camera guys figure out the most amazing ways to make it so that you don't see anything. Like, they'll just line up perfectly where there just happens to be a plant in front of a dong, right? Or like, they'll line up perfectly so that there are 2 cups in front of boobs, right? It's amazing. I was like, the amount of effort it must take to make it so that this show is watchable is incredible. And like, there was a scene that happened where they were showing off the house, right? And she goes, and an amazing walk-in closet. And she opened the door, and it was a closet that was so big. It was basically the size of our bedroom. And immediately both Aaron and I were like, what do they need a closet for? Because they're like nudists. And fortunately they took a second and the girl was like, well, you know, we have jobs. We can't just be nude at our jobs. I was like, I guess that makes sense. But still, do you need a closet that big? Because I doubt it. I doubt you need a closet that big. Nobody really needs a closet that big. I would daydream about it though. But the second that I reached a point in my life where I owned a closet that was the size of a bedroom, I'd be like, maybe it's time to back up. Maybe it's time to back up from my life as it is right now. So anyway, we watched a few clips from that show, and then YouTube decided that meant we also wanted to watch the show Sex Sent Me to the ER, which I have watched before, and I actually worked with, not one of the actors on the show, but I worked with one of the ladies that is in charge of making the people look like the real people. So Sex Sent Me to the ER is one of those shows where they have people actually sitting there being interviewed about their experience and they tell the story, but then they have lookalikes who act out what happens in the story. Ridiculous. So I know somebody who worked on that show making it so that the actors would look like the original people, which is interesting. So we watched like a few clips of that show as well. And then we realized, you know what, we just need to watch some anime, because every girls' night that we've had, we've watched some sort of an anime. But we wanted one that was bad. We wanted one where there was just no way we were ever going to get through it on our own, right? One where we could turn it into a drinking game really easily because we had the rosé. So we were like, well, I mean, the best way to use the rosé is to watch a bad show and create a bad drinking game, right? So there's an anime called Diabolic Lovers that is so bad. It's like incredible. It's incredible how bad it is. And I feel like the only reason that it wound up being made is because of kind of the weird Twilight craze, right? It's about this girl who's sent to live in a house filled with hot boy vampires who are all extremely molesty, and it never gets better. I just want you guys to know, any of you who have started watching it and have been like, I'm sure that they're going to make it so that these guys are likable people and not nearly as awkward as they actually are. No, they are. It never gets better, guys. And the plot is awful. There's no plot. And like each episode is so disjointed, you're like, oh, I guess we're in a completely different place now with a completely different person. Rarely is there a scene with more than one of the dudes in it, because I guess it's just too much effort to draw all of them. I don't even know. We were just, by the end of it, so these episodes are shorter than normal. Normally, anime episodes are like 22 to 25 minutes. These episodes were literally 15 minutes long, so they were shorter than normal anime episodes. It took us an episode and a half to get through an entire bottle of wine. We were like, well, okay, I guess this drinking game didn't work out. Specifically the rules, if you ever want to play the Diabolic Lovers drinking game, make sure you are not alone, because you need somebody who is going to share in your rage, the absolute rage that you are going to feel. Anytime she's licked, anytime she's bit, obviously, anytime they talk about owning her or whether or not they own her, anytime she thinks about the fact that she should leave but doesn't, what were the other ones? Anytime she's called little bitch, there's one character who constantly calls her little bitch, and so we made a huge mistake. We were like, oh, that should be in the drinking game. No. Nope. I would say omit that rule, because every episode that has him as a major character, you're like, well, I guess I might as well just be chugging this glass, because he finishes every sentence with it. There was one more. Oh, anytime two of the boys fight over her, I think was the last rule. So yeah, it was too much. It was way too much, too fast. If you wanted a slow start, just go with anytime she's licked or bit. There are some episodes where she's bit like over and over and over again, because apparently like they can't just, I don't even know. And she never has scars on her neck. It's confusing. It's a confusing, bad show. And just like all the wrong things. It's based on a dating sim. So I was like, I wonder if some of the problems with this story were just that they tried to compact a dating sim into an anime, right? And so they tried to have all of these elements of each of the storylines, and it didn't really quite meet up, and then, you know, they gave us an ending and just kind of like left it. And I was like, well, notoriously, you know, any game that's like that, you're going to find out way more about all of the characters in the game because there's so much more time, etc., etc., etc. I went to look up some of the cutscenes from the game, and I was like, worse! It's worse! It's way worse than the anime! I don't know. I don't know how they did it. I don't know how they did it, but the game is worse. It's worse! God. So, long story short, I'm so glad that I watched Diabolic Lovers with Aaron and Angie, because I literally would never have been able to stand it on my own. And then this morning, we went to bed after that. And then this morning, we went to brunch, and I had an amazing thing. So we went to Norm's, which is it's like a chain diner restaurant here. It's kind of hit and miss. Some of them are like really dingy, and some of them are like, oh, okay. But this one had, okay, so they had what was called a hash brown skillet. They had like an entire page that was just all skillets. And I was like I was so in love the second I read the description. It's a huge layer of hash browns, and then a bunch of toppings that are specified by which skillet you get, and then eggs on top. And I was in. I was so ready to eat this thing. So I got the one that was, they're like this big. It was hash browns, and then chili, onions, and then eggs, and then tortilla strips on top. I was like, yes, it's everything that I wanted, right? So I was able to eat about half of that because it was huge, but I'm so glad that I ate it because it was an experience. It was actually like really delicious. I wished, if I could wish for something to be different, I would wish for the chili to be a bit chunkier. It was the sort of chili where it was just like, it was like meat in a sauce with some beans, and that was, you know, that was like it. And I like really chunky chili with lots of stuff in it. So, you know, someday when I attempt to just make this for myself, it's gonna be hash browns and then real chunky chili and then eggs on top. It was real good, guys. If you live near Norm's, you should try that out sometime. But anyway, yeah, and then today, what did I do today? Well, I mean, I didn't even get home until like 3. And Sam did role play. And then I've done a ton of laundry, and I made cottage pie tonight. The first time that we tried to make cottage pie, it was paleo cottage pie. It was a big mistake. Don't ever try to make paleo cottage pie because it's just not good. But the cottage pie that I made tonight was actually pretty good. I was really happy with it. I think it could be even better, but it was like a delightful meal, you know, which was all I wanted. I was like, can I just make this and have it not be bad? That's like my goal, right? And it was good. It was good. I was really, really excited. So, aiming for the top. I'm aiming for the top of weird recipes, but according to you guys, there's no way to mess up cottage pie, which I beg to differ. I've done it. It's been a thing that has happened. But But anyway, yeah, that was my day. But I hope you guys had an amazing day, and I will talk to you again tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye. Mwah.